Okay guys, welcome to my kitchen, the one place that I never figured that we would ever shoot a video in my house. But we got some new stuff today and I figured a solid bench area to show this off would work. As you can judge by the title, we've got some new pedals. So I've been driving with the Moza SRP pedals for quite a while. I mean, obviously you guys know I talk these pedals up quite a bit. They've been a solid workhorse for the last 3 years, but they're starting to show some signs of age. As we can see, we've got some obvious wearing on our heel plate. We're starting to get a little bit of slop in the pedals themselves, and one thing that I have been having issues with is the load cell springs. For some reason they tend to kind of get hammered out, and the reason that I figured this out, so this is actually part of this load cell is off of Robin's pedals. I got the SRP light pedal load cell kind of replacement guy. It uses the same parts just that way I could replace this as the shaft had apparently broke. And the way that they do it now, instead of having a plastic washer here at the top, they now recess it into the aluminum block. The problem is now this spring, which is only about 3 months old, it's now condensed down in size. So now we've got slop, and I've been kind of contemplating for a while moving in a different direction, just to get a more premium pedal. I mean, like I said, I bought these when I started to get into sim racing. They've been very solid, been, you know, like I say, workhorses, but I wanted to go a little bit more performance. So we're gonna go ahead and slide this off to the side for just a second. And I picked these up through the Apex Sim Racing guys. We went with the Simagic P1000. These are an inverted pedal, and I have not opened this yet. You know, we got all the stuff after I took it out of the actual packaging, which was nothing more than a box that went around this. I literally have not opened it. So I haven't even seen what these look like yet, so I'm kind of excited to get in here. They do send you a warranty card, review card, all that stuff, support card. So I think that's kind of cool. And it shows you who the order's packed by, which is kind of neat. We've got the order packing slip. So we got that. And as always, I'm a sticker whore. I'll just say it. So any company that sends me stickers, that's pretty cool in my book. Usually that's enough right there to get me to at least come back. But I will say, as far as ordering from Apex, it was very easy, very fluid. I ordered these literally Saturday night, and they came out of New Jersey. So, you know, I think I got the shipping notification Tuesday afternoon. So not too bad, 2-day shipping to get here, and that was with standard shipping. But let's go ahead and let's open this box up. And just for ease of convenience, we're gonna move the box to the floor behind here, and I'll pull this stuff up. And they've got it definitely packed away. And actually, I kind of want to show you guys this. We'll get it back up here for just a second so you can see how the packaging is. Like I said, pretty packed in there. This was actually up here before this flipped down. So, you know, encased in foam, looks really good. Really happy so far. And remember, I said these are inverted, so we've got some inversion plates here. It looks like, yeah, both of those. Ooh, and they sent us stickers too, even better. So we'll pull these inversion plates out. Move those off to the side. Get rid of our foam. And what else do we have? We've got our instruction quick guide, always handy. So that'll help when we go to set it up. Yeah, this is pretty cool. They even give you a helmet banner. Pretty neat. That is a actually well thought out sticker kit. So pretty kind of cool. I like it so far. We've got some boxes. I'm gonna go ahead and flip this back down so we can get everything else out easily. So we'll go ahead and pull this off to the side. So we got a place to put things. All right, so first things first, we have the footwell plate, or heel plate, if you will. Put that down there. All of this is really encased in foam, so I don't think you're gonna have to worry too much about shipping. We'll just check this out really quick, because there are some things here. You do have a PCB board on the bottom. These have, and I thought this was a little interesting, these pedals, as well as the non-inverted, you can get a heel stop that is lit that you can do some cool things with. They also have an underglow bar if that's your sort of thing. So if you're an RGB guy, want your rig to kind of match your case, they have all that sort of stuff. So that's that. There is a jack, it looks like, in here for that PCB board. What else do we got? So we've got two smaller boxes. And this is something that I actually had questions about. So these are your stock soft bumpers in a little box kit. And then, like I said, there was kind of some things that I had questions about, because some guys said that they were able to get the spring kit. They do offer a upgraded spring kit. It does not look like we have that here. So we've got the other bumpers. You've got your mediums, hards, and then I believe these are extra hard, and then you've got 3 aluminum rings to take up some space so we can stage that. So we'll probably have more on this, or the bumpers at least. We'll do that in another video when I go to do probably a 1-month review, so I've had time to tune it in. So we'll be mindful of that as we get ready to make the next video. All right, what do we got here? We got a couple of things. This, if I can find the end that I want to open, appears to be all of our parts. Yeah, so we've got our USB cable. Get the rest of this out of here. And it looks like we've got our throttle clutch springs. We've got an assortment of tools, and we've got all of our screws for the kit. Actually, really cool tools. I'm actually rather impressed. I can get something out of here. They actually give you a T-handle with this, which is kind of neat. So yeah, you get yourself a T-handle Allen. You know, if you've been sim racing long enough, you know that you live and die by Allen wrenches. So anytime you get some cool tools like that, always a huge plus. We got some spanner wrenches in here. Also looks like some T-nuts and things of that nature to screw it onto your rig. So definitely really cool little parts kit here. So we'll set that off to the side. And as we go further, more stickers, as if we didn't have enough. So that's kind of cool. We also have our quick guide for everything. I thought we had a smaller one in here, which I do believe is underneath all this stuff. So I'm sure this will be a little bit more detailed. And now on to the part you've all been waiting for. So we'll flip that out to the side. Like I said, everything's encased in foam. We got some support bars. What else do we got here? I'm sorry, I thought we were gonna get to all the cool stuff, but we got a couple of things. Some more parts, I'm assuming, for the inversion kit. And last but not least, now these come all completely assembled. I kind of knew this from the review video. But we've got even more little pieces and parts. I lied, we did get the springs. We'll talk about that in a second. But these come completely assembled, which is really cool. Throttle feels a little on the light side. Clutch has a nice bite point. We may adjust the spring in that. And then that brake is exactly what I thought it is, rock solid. These are, like I said, this is the hydraulic kit. So this is gonna be way different than this old setup, which was springs and bumpers. It's going to be hydraulic over bumper, which I'm very excited for this. Like I said, I have been kind of waiting for something this kind of cool. It looks like we'll have to make some adjustment to the hydraulic canister, so we'll have to rotate that around once we get everything inverted so it doesn't leak. But we'll turn these sideways a little bit so you can see better. You've got your what looks like a piston for our throttle, the whole hydraulic unit here, and then the clutch assembly. Like I said, the clutch has got a bite point. I don't know if you can see that. We'll see if we can't replicate that in a closer video, but it gets to a point where it rocks and then it bites down, so that'll be kind of nice for some of the cars that we drive. A couple other things of note that I think are real key details, and we'll try to zoom in as best I can, but you can see there's ports here. These are for your haptics and your lights. The great thing that I really liked about these is that they are pre-wired. You don't have to do a bunch of stuff to get it to work, which is nice. So if you decide to put the haptics on later, you can. We've got some laser engraved arm adjustment. So you've got your two screws. We can rotate this arm a little bit. All the pedal faces have a 4-bolt system. And one review that I saw, they were talking about how these holes are a little uncomfortable, which I had concern with, because you don't want something that's going to cut your foot, especially if you're a person that races in socks. Just running my finger over the open holes, they don't feel bad. They're not super sharp, so I wouldn't worry about that. I don't think you'll get a catch out of them. I don't feel that. If you know a machinist or something like that, you might have them bevel that edge a little bit. But the other thing of note is it looks like they took the screws, and in some of the videos that I've seen from like SimPit and those guys, the screws were a lot more down in or embossed, if you will. It looks like they've kind of flushed those up to take up some of that space. So, I think you're going to be good to go there. But looking at a couple other things, we look at the underside, fully encased pedals. This does come off, and they do have a couple of different options as far as your gas and your clutch pedal. You can move that outward if you want to get a little more space. There is no front to back movement, so that'll be a thing to kind of keep in mind. But overall, so far, I'm really impressed with this build quality. And the amount of adjustment, I think, is absolutely cool. As you can see, if we turn sideways here, the clutch and the gas are going to be very similar in how they work. You've got a jam nut. You can adjust this out, give it a little bit of preload on that throttle. Same thing with the clutch. It looks like we got that as well with the brake. Now, if you did not get the hydraulics, that's fine. It uses a piston very similar to this. But instead of using the big springs like we've got in this parts kit, it'll use the bumpers like what we saw in the boxes. And like I said, I thought we maybe get springs. It was not very clear on some of the reviews, but at least with the inverted kit, I can confirm you get the spring kit, and a lot of guys bypass the bumpers and go to the spring kit. We'll kind of explain that in a later video. But we're going to try out a whole bunch of different ideas as we kind of go through the video. And then we'll kind of hold some more detailed stuff, my thoughts as far as total performance for a month out. But as far as unboxing goes so far at this point, like I said, everything looks phenomenal. Very excited for this purchase. Like I'm ready to start building stuff like it's got Legos from when you were a kid. So I'm gonna go ahead and step aside on that. I'll get this all built, so when we come back, I should have this all assembled right here before we get ready to put it onto the rig and see how the fitment goes. Okay guys, so we got this all put together. The instructions were a little funky, so the little booklet that they give you is if you're gonna put the hydraulics on. We didn't need that, ours already came with it. And then the other instructions, they're kind of vague a little bit. It shows you how to put it together if you're going to use a normal, so this does give you the option to do either or. But other than that, it's pretty straightforward. The only issue that I had putting this together, there is the cable that you see going down this side. You have to plug it into the bottom of the pedals. I had a little bit of an issue. It's a really small 4-pin connector and I didn't want to bend the pins. Wound up having to take the cover off the boards that's on the bottom of these. But other than that, pretty straightforward little deal. At this point, I think what we're going to do, we're going to go ahead and get this on the rig, bolt it up. Like I said, they gave you 3 different packs of stuff to get everything mounted. So they gave you some T-nuts and screws, a bag of screws, and then another bag of screws. So I think between what I've got and what they sent me here, we should be able to make it work. So let's go ahead and get this onto the rig.
Okay, so I know we said we were going to get this thing up on the new rig. One thing that I wanted to cover before we got too far into this video is I did do a baseline with the Moza pedals. We went GT3 cars, Ferrari at Watkins Glen, and ran about a 146.5 to a high 147, which is pretty typical for me. It's not really out of the ordinary. I just don't do a ton of GT3 racing. But I wanted to kind of give you guys a sense of, did the pedals that I'm using make a difference or did they not? So you can see in the video how my footwork is, kind of the range of motion that we're seeing around Watkins Glen. So that way you have something to compare it to too, because I know one thing that's a little on, not the odd side, but something that you can't tell obviously is the feel of the pedal from a video. So hopefully this kind of gives you an idea of what the Moza kind of feels like through a visual sense, and then we can kind of show you what the Simagic looks like and kind of feel from that visual sense as well. Okay, so now that we have the pedals up onto the rig, one of the first things that I noticed, you know, as we talked about in the intro, that brake pedal is, wow, it's stiff. So we're going to be talking about that here in a few. But straight away, I noticed that the pedals worked so smoothly. The gas pedal was very progressive. Kind of gave you that feeling of a car that used to have a carburetor, and how as you press that pedal, it would progressively get stiffer. So a very familiar feeling there. The clutch pedal, the bite point was really good. Granted, we didn't use it too much in the GT3 car. I did use it with the 87, as we did quite a bit of testing with that as well. And made for a very nice feeling. But as far as the pedals go, I did notice I was much smoother with them versus the Moza. And you can see in my pedal view here, the brake pedal, you could obviously see it's very, very stiff. But I've also noticed that my braking has become a lot more progressive instead of kind of light switch on, light switch off, and I think that's due to the added resistance on both the clutch, or well, the brake and the gas pedal. So overall, first reaction, like I said, very harsh on the brake pedal, especially if you're used to something that's a little bit softer. So we'll cover kind of how to adjust that here in just a second, but you know, the smooth action and everything, it just feels natural, which is really nice. So let's go ahead and talk about how we're going to go ahead and adjust this brake pedal. So this was a pretty straightforward disassembly here. You can see the black cap that we've got to take off. Mine was actually quite loose, so that might be something to check before you actually start running these pedals. But you just unscrew the cap, you pull the whole stack out. You can see the stack there that's in my hand.
All right, guys, so at this point, we're obviously back where I do all my sim racing and all that fun stuff. We've had the pedals on the rig for about 24 hours now, done some initial testing. I'm going to save some of my thoughts for the end so far, because we've got a lot more testing that I want to do. But one of the initial things that I noticed is the brake pedal is, at least for my taste, in stock configuration, it is overtly stiff. For some people, it may work just fine. For me, I'm really struggling on oval tracks, which is not necessarily a good thing, especially figure the amount of braking that you're actually going to do. So I've run, like I said, 24 hours with the current brake stack the way that it is. And I wanted to kind of give you guys kind of a review of how I pulled it apart. So there's quite a few threads on this cap, as you'll see from the video of me taking it off. I was not expecting that. I figured it'd be a little bit shorter, but when you figure in hydraulics, I'm not surprised. Yeah, wasn't overtly tight either, so I don't know. I probably wouldn't crank this down. It is an aluminum cap, so be careful with that. But this is what the entire stack currently looks like. The aluminum washer will be facing inward, with everything else coming out of the cap, like, if I can get my hands to work, kind of like so. It should go back together just like that. One thing I did notice when I popped this apart, this last elastomer, it was stuck in the cap here. There's a little nipple that it kind of hooks on, so that way it mimics what you've got in the end of this. Little bit of a flathead screwdriver, just a little bit of pressure come right out. So nothing to worry about there, but it does look like we've got kind of a soft, medium, hard. To me, this doesn't ramp at all. It's very linear, which for a lot of people, they like that. I like to have a little bit of a ramp, you know, something that's a little bit softer on that initial stroke and then progressively getting harder. So we're gonna try a few things. I've got our spring kit here, and then I've got the 70 rubber. We've got the gray is an 80 rubber, and then you've got the blue is a 80 polyurethane, and the red is a 90 polyurethane. And then we've got the travel regulators in here. So I think what we're gonna try and do at first, to get it a little softer, what I wanna do, and this is just a me thing, I may pull out one of the red, one of the blue, and add in a couple of blacks to see if we can't soften that stroke up. And I'm gonna change the angle on the camera and do this kind of top down so you can see a little bit closer what I'm doing here. All right, so now that we've got things a little set up here, we'll go ahead and open the boxes so you can see a little bit closer as to what we have and kind of what my plan is. So this is actually your performance kit that you would buy if you didn't have if you didn't have the hydraulic. I was talking with somebody else the other day. This kit seems to come in with the hydraulic, at least the hydraulic inverted for sure. So as you can see, we've got some of the harder, some of the middle, a few more of the softer. These are your limiter rings. So, you know, if you put in a bunch of soft polymers here, you may want to limit the travel so that way it kind of gives you that two-stage feel. I don't think we're going to mess with these yet. We're definitely not going to mess with these two right now. The only thing that we're going to mess with, and we'll go ahead and get this off the table. Like I said, I just want to soften it up a little bit. I don't want to get super crazy with it. So what we're going to do is we'll go ahead and use a couple of these black elastomers, and we may wind up using some of these springs later on. If I'm not real happy with it, as you can see, we've got, you know, a couple of different types of springs, some thicker ones, some thinner ones, and you know, we may try some of that, but I don't think we're going to go this route yet. So we'll just move that off to the side as well. So we'll go ahead and get our top spot off. So like I said, I want to go and do something a little different here. I know a lot of guys tend to throw a whole stack of the black ones in, and I kind of know what I'm looking for already based on how the Moza pedals used to be. So what I want to do is, and we'll pop these apart, and then you just kind of peel them. You can see they're kind of like Legos in a little fashion sense. So, you know, if that was your thing back in the day, welcome back to Lego building. We're gonna pop a blue one off. We're gonna pop a red one off. So that should give us a little bit more room. And then we should be able to go ahead and we'll grab, I don't know why there's just a singular black one off on its own. We'll put that guy in, and then we'll grab one more of these, and we'll put that guy in. So I can already tell you right now, this is going to be quite a bit softer from what I just feel in my fingers. And you know, we may find that maybe we don't need the black, maybe we got to do a couple more of the grays, but this should give us a little bit more of a progressive feel, because that initial stroke to me feels really harsh. So getting it to kind of compress, it's almost like it's deforming your foot, it feels like, as you push it down, but there's a lot of load on it. So we're gonna go ahead, we're gonna put this back in, we'll do some more driving with it, and continue on. I don't want to get too involved with all of this right now, because I figure by the time we hit the 1 month review video, that's where we'll have a lot of that breakdown, and hopefully I'll have a better answer as to what may work for most guys that are doing oval. Kind of hopefully tweak this in a little bit better, and you know, make you guys happier with your purchase if you decided to go down the route that I did. So we'll go ahead and put this back in. We'll do some more driving.
All right, so the one thing that I wanted to show you guys with this is the software behind the system. Obviously, we've only got the pedals, so it makes things a little bit different. Obviously, you know, as you can see here at the bottom, if you had a bass, a wheel, the shifter, the handbrake, all that, they would all show as connected. Obviously, we only have the pedals, so that's what you see here, but it does give you different options for the games that you may race in on the home screen, which is kind of cool. You can build a login, all of that stuff. If we go to devices, we can kind of click through some different things. Obviously, we can't click into these because we don't have them hooked up, right? But we can click on the pedals. We've got all sorts of options across the top. If you've got lights, you know, if you need to calibrate it, you've got your system display settings if you want it in kilograms or percents. I like percentage, but that's just me. And very similar, and I'll actually pull this up as well. Let me get it up on screen for you. We'll get the Pit House software up so you can see it. It's really similar in how it's laid out, I guess, if you will. Which is probably not a bad thing, because then that way it makes it to where you can kind of, if you're coming from another software, it makes it easy to understand. We'll go ahead and pull this over. So, you know, in kind of home screen for home screen, they're actually quite similar. But obviously we don't have the pedals connected anymore. But if you've been inside of the Moza software, you know, when you go into the pedals, it looks very similar to what you've got here. So we'll go ahead and get this off screen for right now and just kind of cover this. But you can see your travel and everything here. Same thing with the brakes, and as well as the clutch. There's a couple of things here, and this is something that I've seen in a lot of other videos. I did not experience this so far with my pedals, but you get into the brakes, and when you hold it, they're saying there's some bleed off there, and I just haven't seen it. If you do notice something like that, I'd love to hear it in the comments. I've heard where guys have taken bumpers out, went with springs, so that way it doesn't bleed and that sort of thing. But again, I haven't experienced that. You've got a few different profiles and stuff like that. I've just stuck with the default, and kind of tweaked my own stuff. You can set different filters, save it and everything. So a pretty basic software, but again, it's not like it's super complex in what we're trying to accomplish, right? Like, it mainly needs to work. If you do have standard pedals versus inverted, make sure that you click that. I don't really know how that affects it. I didn't notice a change really. So there may be something to that as well. But all your updates are done through here. We do have like a settings menu, and we can check for updates. It'll let you know if everything's good to go. One click kind of update deal, which is really nice. So, you know, if you've got a bunch of stuff that's all Simagic, it'll handle here as well. Yeah, software pretty basic. So now, time for my closing thoughts. The question is, are the Simagics better than these? In my all honesty, yes. And I'm going to say that with a caveat. I know everybody says there's a caveat, right? But what I will say is, if you are a person who is very serious about sim racing, you want to get better, maybe you're an actual racer, you want to mimic your race car as close as you can, you're probably going to get that more so with a premium pedal like the Simagic, the Moza CRPs, things that are machined that we could service and that sort of thing. And that's the other reason why I think the Simagic is better, is it's a fully serviceable pedal. You've got bearings for any of the rotational parts, shims, all sorts of stuff, which to me, if I can rebuild it, that's better than it just wearing out and winding up in a trash bin somewhere, if you know, catch my drift. You know, overall, I've been really happy with the purchase so far. Obviously, since we did the brake pedal adjustment, it's gotten better. Still working through a few different things. But overall, for the purchase price, I couldn't be happier. Now you're probably wondering, okay, we haven't talked price yet. The Moza SRP pedals I bought 3 years ago. It was about 231 bucks with the spring and bumper kit as well as with the clutch, which makes them a great, you know, if you're a hobbyist and you have fun with it, by all means, that's probably the route you want to go. Now for the Simagic pedals, if I bought them just as a non-hydraulic set, it would have been about $599 plus the hydraulic add-on. And then we got inverted, so that added more to it. So all total, shipped to the door, it was about $741. But again, you don't have to go hydraulic. You can add that on later, which is really cool. They also have a hydraulic thing for the gas pedal. I wasn't really wild about it after hearing some reviews, because they were saying when you lift off, it doesn't follow your foot off. It kind of hangs. So I'm not really a fan of that. You know, I grew up driving a carbureted vehicle, so the spring feels pretty natural to me. You also have, like I said, there's lighted foot stops. There's an underglow light. I mean, there's all sorts of stuff you can get for just these pedals. I did look at the Simagic P2000s as well at one point. And the reason that I didn't go that route was they don't have an inversion kit for them. So we just went ahead and went with the P1000s. They come in at about the same price, inverted versus the non-inverted P2000s. But like I said, overall, I'm really happy with them. I do plan on doing the haptic upgrade that you can get for them, at least to the brake pedal. So we'll probably about the 6-month review period, we should have that installed, working, and all that fun stuff. But like I said, overall, really happy with the purchase. And you know, even getting it from the guys from Apex Sim Racing, they were very easy to deal with. Like I said, shipping was great. So don't be afraid to order from them. Like they're East Coast, so if you're over on the east side of the country, might not be a bad route to go. You can get them from Simagic direct, but the price was a little bit nicer, I think, through Apex at the time, and they are a licensed dealer, which made it very nice. But yeah, other than that, that's all I've got for the initial review on this. I plan on doing a 1 month, a 6 month, and a 1 year review on these, just so you can kind of see, okay, what have we run into? What issues have we had? Is there stuff that needs to be replaced? What's support like? They do have a Discord server if you've went out and bought some of the stuff. So don't forget to check that out. I'll put a link down in the description. But on that note, guys, I'm going to get back to driving these things, figuring them out, having some more fun with them. And hopefully I'll have some information for you guys during some of the live streams, so don't miss some of those. But on that note, if you're new here, click the like button, hit the subscribe button, and we'll see you guys at the races.